Politics Asia, and this is the frontline changes for the past 24 hours, maybe 36, but 24 for the 7th to the 8th of January. And just to because the Russians are on this major winter offensive, there's a lot of frontline changes despite it's just merely 2 days. Again, it's crazy. So I will turn off this area first. We'll talk about it at the end of this video. We're gonna start off with the Kursk front first. In the Kursk, so let me move the mic nearer to me a bit. In the Kursk front, so we have the Ukrainians claiming a closer position towards Nizhny Klin. So this is not a capture. This is just a Ukrainian claim. I believe this is plausible because this is a pretty advanced position. Russian forces coming here might struggle, and but we shall see how this go. This is just a claim, and then over in the Krylenkoye region, the Russian forces have made massive advances, confirmed by geolocation as well as Ukrainian mapping, concealing these areas here. The entire forest north of the Krylenkoye region towards Olovka is captured by the Russian forces, and then geolocation confirmed. The Russians continue to advance, moving in the direction of Staraya Sorokina. So all this area here is now under Russian control. This confirmed mapping. So the pressure on the Ukrainians are ramping up as the Russians are actually attacking Pogrebki as well. So Ukrainians still hold Olovka, Novaya Sorokina, Staraya Sorokina, and Nikolaevka. And there is also fighting ripple at Malaya Luknia. So we shall see how this continue to play out. This is the northern flank of the Kursk front. So after that, okay. So in the east of this position, just as we mentioned, Russian mapping claims that they have captured Ruskoye Parashnoye. This is a claim by the Russian mapping. This is not confirmed tentatively. So there is also no announcement from the Russian Defense Ministry about the liberation of their own town. So we shall see. We shall wait for more information. Moving into the Voreshna front, which is north of the Kupiansk front, there is some updates regarding this front line. In the south of Voreshna, the Russian forces continue to expand their control around this high ground along the Oskil River, south of the Voreshna city. South of this position towards Zapadne, Russian forces also expanded control, fully capture the forest east of Zapadne, as well as starting to have a foothold on the next forest south of that forest, as well as more grounds along the high grounds along the Oskil River has been captured. So the distance between Zapadne and the current front line is around 1.2, or to the forest is around 1.5 kilometers. So definitely the Russians are on the verge. They have already cut the highway effectively already. So that definitely already caused some slight problems to the logistics of the Ukrainians in this region. Clearly, the Ukrainians could still travel to Voreshna from Zapadne. It's not impossible. So, but yeah, the Russians are definitely in the area here. South of this position, over in the Pischane front, Ukrainian forces have recaptured the entire forest northwest of Kolesnikivka, and they have re-entered into Kolesnikivka, confirmed by geolocation, which means the Ukrainians are back. And but tentatively, that's all we have at this moment from the Pischane front. Moving on to the Verkhamokanyamsky. Verkhamokanyamsky is at the Sivers front, At the Sivers front, south of Verkhamokanyamsky, Russian forces geolocated in the tree line in this northward offensive operation coming from the Sperne region, as they try to find another way to attack Verkhamokanyamsky, as the attack coming from the east and the northeast have not worked out, as the Ukrainians have have defeated all these offensive operations. So the Russians are trying from a new different direction. So let's wait to see whether we have more information regarding this. Moving away from Verkhamokanyamsky, we jump next to Torex City. Within Torex City, the Russian mapping have claimed more grounds within the Verkhamokanyamsky. This time round, these are all Russian claims, and they have expanded a massive control around Torex. in the northern part, they have almost entirely capturing all of the neighborhood as well as the hill in the northwest. They have also captured almost the entirety of the neighborhood in the western part of Torex. So this is just a Russian claim. This is not confirmed just yet. But yeah, given the tide of war and how things is moving, this is definitely very, very likely to be true. So after Torex, we move on to Baranivka. So this is over in the northern flank of the Pokrov front. So the impossible salient south of Baranivka is now filled up by the Ukrainian mapping themselves. So the Russian forces have captured this entire region as they continue to close down towards Baranivka. And the Ukrainian mapping also confirmed that the Russians have captured more grounds within Velyka, which is this is already claimed by the Russian side for a long time. So the Ukrainian mapping is simply just catching up with this information. So that's all from this northern flank of the Pokrov front. Moving into the Pokrov sector, over in this Pokrov city, by the way. So over in the Pischane-Solone region, Russian forces have captured the entire western part of Pischane. So Pischane is now on this pincer. Of course, this is almost impossible to hold this position, so this is going to be deep shit. North of Solone, the Russian forces, based on Ukrainian mapping, have captured more grounds west of Vovkove, and all the field north of Solone is now mapped under Russian control according to the Ukrainian mapping, which means the Russians have already progressed into this gully region or forest region, into this mining region. So as the Russians continue to push westward from Vovkove, so that's the situation here. The distance moved is around 1.8 kilometers. South of that position at Novosilka, Russian forces have expanded their control over at Novosilka as they punch through into the middle of the village, as well as attacking from the east. So this is the current situation within Vovkove. Clearly, we have yet another impossible salient, another impossible pocket around here. I don't think this exists. I think the Ukrainians probably, they have at most the northern part and the western part of Novosilka. So that's all from Novosilka. We move further south. Over in the Ukrainka region, Russian forces has confirmed to have captured Ukrainka due to the geolocation of Russian forces just east of Yasinove, which means the Russian forces have advanced towards Yasinove from the Ukrainka region. Southeast of Ukrainka, the Russian forces also have been claimed by the Russian mapping to have advanced and taken positions within the heavy entrenchment over in the southeast of Ukrainka. So this is a Russian claim, but this Yasinove one is a capture, confirmed capture. South of this position, over at Slovianka, as well as Petropavlivka, the Russian forces have been mapped to have entered and captured most of Slovianka according to Ukrainian mapping. So this is pretty significant. So these are based on Ukrainian mapping, so this is confirmed. And over in Petropavlivka, the Russians are also on the verge of full capture of Petropavlivka, according to the Ukrainian mapping. However, the Ukrainians left this little bit here to deny the mapping Russian forces have captured the whole of Petropavlivka. So they left it a little bit there as gray zone, but I don't think this is reality. I think the Russians have already captured this entire region. So that's all from this Slovianka Petropavlivka region. The total distance traveled is around 2.5 kilometers deep, and from the previous front line moving up north from Petropavlivka is around 400 meters. So that's all from this region. Moving further south, over at Shevchenko, Russian forces also expanded control in the south of Petropavlivka and the northeast of Shevchenko. This is based on the Russian claim. Russian mapping mapped it in this way. This is not confirmed by Ukrainian mapping. But if true, the Russians have basically captured half of the heavy entrenchment protecting the north of Shevchenko. But Shevchenko itself is already compromised. So, I mean, this salient is, it's just impossible for the Ukrainians to hold anyway. So, we move further south. Into the Kurakovo front, we have geolocation of Russian forces moving towards Dashny. So we have mentioned this before during the sitrep, as well as some slight changes in the south as they continue to move westward in the south of Kurakovo. So small changes around here. And the next frontline change, we jump all the way to the Velyka Novosilka sector. So based on Russian mapping, these are these are all Russian claims. So Russian mapping, so let me turn off this so that we don't disturb. So Russian mapping claim that the Russian forces have straightened the front line in the northeast of Velyka Novosilka, and also closing down on the Velyka Novosilka, Nekushny, and Vremivka from all directions. So for Vremivka and Nekushny, they're coming in from the west, and Nekushny also coming from the south. Russian forces also allegedly pushed from Blahodane, moving towards Velyka Novosilka. So there's this tightening of the noose around the noose around the Velyka Novosilka. But this is based on Russian mapping, Russian claims. So we can't confirm this information tentatively, but the lack of reporting from this front line might suggest that this might actually be true, because the Russians has been attacking this area for days, and we do not have any frontline changes updates. So that is nearly impossible. So this claim most likely is true. And west of Nekushny, we have some updates moving in the direction of Novosilka, with Russian forces capturing some tree lines, moving in the direction of Novosilka, creating yet another impossible salient. But anyway, that's all not a very significant update regarding this. And I believe that's about it. So this is the frontline changes for the past 48 hours. And let's take a look at this total area captured. The Ukrainians have captures in two different regions, in Kursk and Pischany. Particularly in Pischany is the one that is a major one, where they have retaken positions north of Kolesnikivka. The total area captured for them over the past maybe 48 hours is around 9.46 square kilometers. So for the Russians, the biggest capture is actually in Pokrov, given all the various advancement, particularly over in this Vozdevizenka region. Another one is over in the north of Solone. Another one is in the south, over in the Yasinove Ukrainka region, as well as Slovianka region. So all this adds up to a pretty impressive 16.15 square kilometers. The next biggest is actually at Kursk, where the Russians are starting to crush the Ukrainian defenses or resistance around this region, particularly in the northern flank at Ruskoye Parashnoye, as well as in the Kurenkoye region. So, and then the third biggest is at the Velyka Novosilka, but these are all claims where the Russians have starting to tighten the noose around Velyka Novosilka. So let's count the total area captured by the Russian forces, because there's just too much numbers, so we have to calculate separately. So 13.06, sorry, not 1006, 13.06 plus 3.22 plus 1.41 plus 0.72 plus 16.15 plus 3.25 plus 10.24, and the total area captured by the Russian forces in the past 48 hours is 48.05 square kilometers, which is still pretty high. Is slightly lower than I think the previous Frontline Changes update, but it's still pretty close. This is around 24, 23 square kilometers per day, and nearly 25 or even 30. If I count it I map it in slightly different ways, it could be even 30 square kilometers. So very, very significant. While the Ukrainians have captured only like at most 10 square kilometers at 9.46. So anyway, this is the Frontline Changes report. Do press the like button, subscribe, and check out the sit rep, and I'll see you guys in the next update.